Good morning, students. Our today's topic, which we are going to discuss, is genetic code. We are going to discuss about genetic code. See, many things we have done. We saw that how DNA replication is taking place. Then we saw how DNA is going to form mRNA. And then translation, we saw that how this mRNA is going to form the proteins. So, if we talk about the information, we have earlier also said that all the information is present in DNA, and DNA is present inside the nucleus of the cell. And this DNA is made up of 4 nucleotides. That means 4 nitrogenous bases are present. Say 4 nitrogenous bases are present: adenine, guanine, cytosine and thymine. This is how the complete DNA sequence is there. Now this DNA is going to provide this sequence of nitrogenous bases that is present in it for a specific protein in form of a gene into mRNA. So this information will be coded in form of mRNA, and the information that is present in mRNA, this information will be used by several agents like ribosomes are present, tRNA is present. They are going to use it, and finally they are going to form the protein that is based on the information that is present over here. And originally that information came from the DNA. And one more thing we saw that the mRNA strand is having again nitrogenous bases. These 4 nitrogenous bases are arranged, and out of these all nitrogenous bases, they are working in a group of 3, and group of 3 nitrogenous bases is going to code for one single amino acid. This we talked about when we were talking about the process of translation. That means the sequence of nitrogenous bases that are present on the DNA, from this sequence the pair of 3 they are behaving as a codon, and this is the genetic code that is present in DNA. And this genetic code is basically for the proper synthesis of protein, because all the genes are going to code for one or more than one proteins. So the sequence is basically responsible for the synthesis of various proteins in the cell. And we know different organisms or different cells are having their specific proteins. That means they are having specific genes for them in the DNA. So this is how the sequence is working. And this genetic code is present in DNA in form of deoxyribonucleotides. And in a sequence of steps, this is coded in form of proteins. So if we talk about, see, earlier we were not known that 3 nitrogenous bases are going to form one codon. Experimentally scientists have proved this, but when we were not known about these situations, then if we compare the number of nitrogenous bases and the amino acids that are present in the cell, so if we see there are 4 nitrogenous bases present in the cell and 20 amino acids are present. So if we see, or if we think that only one single nitrogenous base is responsible for one amino acid, that means 4 nitrogenous bases are going to count for 4 amino acids only. अगर 4 नाइट्रोजनस बेसिस हैं, हर एक नाइट्रोजनस बेस एक अमाइनो एसिड के लिए कोड करता है, तो 4 नाइट्रोजनस बेसिस 4 अमाइनो एसिड्स के लिए कोड करेंगे. बट वी आर हैविंग मोर देन 4 अमाइनो एसिड्स इन द सेल. इफ वी कंसिडर द सेकेंड सिचुएशन, दैट मीन्स इफ वी थिंक दैट 2 nitrogenous bases, a pair of 2 nitrogenous bases is going to code for one amino acid, that means 4 amino acids. This will be the situation. So we are getting total 16 amino acids. If a pair of 2 is going to code for, again 4 amino acids are left behind, we are again having a deficiency. And if we say a pair of 3 nitrogenous bases, that means a triplet is going to code for 1 amino acid, then the situation is 64 amino acids. Means this situation is going to fit, and means we are getting amino acids more than 20. That means it is the possibility that pair of 3 nitrogenous bases, they are going to behave as a single unit, and this single unit is known as a codon, and this codon is responsible for 1 amino acid. Same, another codon will be responsible for to code for another amino acid, another for another amino acid. This is how in the mRNA the sequence will be readied. The tRNA is going to come, bring the amino acid for this specific codon, and it is going to be attached on the growing polypeptide chain. So scientists worked to identify and experimentally prove that yes, this is the situation. 3 nucleotides are going to function as one single codon, and they are going to code for 1 amino acid. This was told by Crick in 1961, that yes, this is the situation. And scientists like Nirenberg, Marshall Nirenberg, in 1961 was able to find out the first codon, that was UUU, and it is coding for phenylalanine. So they experimentally proved that yes, the triplet code is responsible for coding one single amino acid, and the first codon they find out was UUU, that was coded for phenylalanine. And by their experiment they were able to find out other codons also that were coding for different amino acids. So let me show you the tabular form, that how many codons are there and for which different amino acids these codons are coding. This is the standard genetic code which I have drawn. So these are the codons, again triplets are there, and these are the amino acids for which these codons are coding for. See, if we need to understand this table, that you will find out that there are some of the amino acids that are coded by only one single codon. There are some of the amino acids that are coded by 2 codons, or they are coded by 4 or maximum 6 codons. We are going to discuss them when we are going to talk about the characteristics of a genetic code. First, let's find out the amino acids that are coded by the single codon. So one is methionine, that is coded by a initiator codon, that is AUG, and another one is tryptophan, that is over here. So out of complete 20 amino acids, methionine and tryptophan, they are coded by only one single codon. If we see serine, 4 codons are there and 2 are there. So serine is coded by again 6 codons. If we see arginine, 4 are here and 2 are here. It is also coded by 6 codons. Some like proline, threonine, alanine, they are coded by glycine by 4 codons, and some of them are there that are coded by 2 codons each. So this is the standard genetic code that was given by Nirenberg. And this genetic code is specific, means if I pick one codon, say I am talking about UCC. So UCC is always going to code about serine. We would never find that this UCC is coding for some other amino acid. That's why I am saying this is specific. Now out of these codons, some codons are behaving as initiator codon, like AUG is behaving as initiator codon means this AUG will be always present on the first, on mRNA. The mRNA is running in 5' to 3' direction, so it will be present as a first codon on the 5' end, and some are behaving as stop codon, or we can say terminator codon. For example, UAA, UAG and UGA. I haven't written any of the amino acid in front of them because they are stop codons, so they are not coding for any of the amino acid, and they will be present at the 3' end of the mRNA strand, and they will be responsible for the termination of the process of translation. So this is how a genetic code is present, and each of the specific codon is going to code for one specific amino acid. Now let's talk about the properties that is shown by the genetic code. So characteristics of genetic code. Characteristics of genetic code. The first characteristic of genetic code is, this genetic code is a triplet code. That means triplet in nature. So this genetic code is having a triplet nature. We have seen that 3 nitrogenous bases or 3 nucleotides are going to code for one single amino acid. We have seen various, like AUG is going to code for pair of 3 nucleotides are there. They are going to code for one amino acid, say methionine. UUU, again 3 pair going to code for phenylalanine. So we have, up to here we have seen that this genetic code is going to function in triplet. Now another is, this genetic code is not overlapping. So it is non-overlapping. What do we understand by this second property, non-overlapping? Suppose I am drawing a mRNA strand. This is a mRNA strand, the 5' to 3' direction, and this is how the sequence is present. Say AUG is there, C, C, U, G, A, C, U. This is the sequence that is present. Now when protein synthesis is taking place, that means the A site is going to come. Firstly initiator is there, so P site, then A site. So this codon will be read as codon 1. I am going to write here codon. First, this 3 nitrogenous bases. The second one will be this, that is going to come at the A site. So it will be codon second. Again this will be read as codon third. So this is not overlapping. That means any of the nucleotide of this codon will be not going to read it with this one. Say this AUG, if I am showing the overlapping structure, this AUG was readed. Again the second codon was GUC. This is codon 1, codon 2. Again G will be readed with CC. GCC will be the codon 3. Then again CC is the codon 4. Though this is overlapping, these nitrogenous bases are included in the other codons also. So this thing is not going to happen. This codon is functioning as a single unit and it will be readed one time. Then this one and this one, there will be no overlapping that is seen. So the genetic code is not going to show overlapping. Overlapping is not present. Now the third characteristic is no punctuation is there. Means continuity is there. If we see here, so the sequence is going to be read continuously. In any of the nitrogenous base will be not left behind. This is first one. This is second one. No comma or no breaking is there. They are read in a continuous manner. First three as first codon, next three as second, next three as third, then fourth, fifth. There will be no comma, or you can say no nitrogenous base will be left in between. So no punctuation is there while reading the genetic code. Now another characteristic is universality. The genetic code is universal. That means if I take one codon, say I am saying U. So in all the organisms, U will be responsible for coding for phenylalanine. That's why we are saying that it is universal. This genetic code is responsible for this coding for the same amino acids in all the organisms. So genetic code is universal. Now another characteristic is genetic code is showing degeneracy. If we have seen the table of the genetic code, the standard table of genetic code, in that standard table we find that more than one codon is responsible for one amino acid. Like serine, we saw there are 6 codons, and these 6 codons are coding for only one single amino acid, that is serine. That means degeneracy. So genetic code is showing degeneracy. It means more than one codon codes for a single amino acid. That is redundancy or degeneracy that is seen in the genetic code. Now the another one is non-ambiguity of the codons. What this non-ambiguity means? That means that codons are always specific. In that genetic code, we do not find any of the codon that is coding for 2 amino acid. One codon will always code for one amino acid. One codon will never go and code for 2 amino acids. So this is showing non-ambiguity. It simply means one codon is coding for only one amino acid. In any of the situation, this codon is not going to code for any other amino acid. That is another characteristic of genetic code. Now the next one is that nonsense codons are present, or we can say terminator. We saw 3 terminator codons were there: UAA, UGA and UAG. These codons are going to terminate the sequence. Whenever these codons will be present, the process of translation will stop there, and the protein will be freed. The newly formed protein will move out of the mRNA ribosome complex. So terminator codons are present. Another is initiator codons are present. We are having AUG, that is having 2 functions. If we talk about AUG, this AUG is having 2 functions. The first function of AUG is it is coding for methionine, and the second function is it is behaving as initiator codon. That means the first tRNA is going to have the anticodons for this AUG. So AUG is always going to behave as initiator codon, and in some of the cases, very few cases, we also find GUG to behave as the initiator codon. So we are having, out of the 64 codons, we are having specific stop codons, means 3 are stop codons. So only 61 are going to code for amino acid. The 3 are not going to code for any of the amino acid. And out of these 61, one is behaving as a initiator codon. Other properties are collinearity. Collinearity simply means the amino acid sequence. A polypeptide is going to show a collinearity with the proteins. That simply means if suppose this is a DNA sequence, 5 prime to 3 prime end is there, or we just generally talk about normal sequence that is having A, G, C, T, A, T, G, C. This is a DNA sequence. Now this DNA sequence will be coded into mRNA and finally it will be coded into a chain of amino acids. This is how a chain of amino acid will be formed. So the sequence of nucleotides that are present over here is determining the sequence of amino acids that are present in a polypeptide chain. Means simply if I am going to change one of the nucleotide over here, this is responsible for changing of the amino acid that is collinear. That means the first will be normal because the first codon is normal, so first amino acid is normal. I have changed the nucleotide of the second codon, so it is going to affect the second amino acid. This is showing collinearity with the DNA sequence. If any change is taking place in the DNA sequence, that is leading to the change in the polypeptide sequence at the same place. Another characteristic of genetic code is gene polypeptide parity. That simply means what it means? It simply means that the number of proteins that are present in a cell, these proteins are having their specific genes in the DNA. So the total number of genes will be equal to the number of proteins that are present in a cell, because we know that genes are coding for they are having the information in coding form for the proteins. So these are some of the characteristics of genetic code. Now if we talk about the mutation, if any of the mutation takes place in genetic code, we have talked earlier also, the mutation is also going to affect the polypeptide that is going to form. Mutations की वजह से polypeptide में भी change आएगा, and mutations can be of many types. Say it is a point mutation. That means only one single nitrogenous base is going to change. If change is taking place, change means substitution is taking place. It can be a pyrimidine can be replaced by pyrimidine, or purine by purine, or a purine by a pyrimidine. All the situations can be there. So there will be change in the amino acid. The specific nucleotide in which there is point mutation, a codon in which point mutation is taking place, that point mutation is also affecting any of the amino acid. Now situations can be there. Suppose because of change in one nucleotide, the codon is now behaving as a stop codon or terminator codon. एक न्यूक्लियोटाइड चेन होने की वजह से अब कोडोन किस में कन्वर्ट हो गया? एक स्टॉप कोडोन में कन्वर्ट हो गया. अब अगर स्टॉप कोडोन होगा एंड दिस स्टॉप कोडोन, दिस अल्टरेशन हैज टेकन प्लेस इन द मिडल ऑफ द सीक्वेंस, तो वहीं पर जाकर सीक्वेंस टर्मिनेट हो जाएगी और प्रोटीन कैसा बनेगा? ओनली हाफ प्रोटीन विल बी formed and this half protein will may be non-functional. This can be one situation. Another situation can be there is no change, or it is known as silent mutation. Silent mutation means change is there in amino acid, but that change has not leading to change in the amino acid. न्यूक्लियोटाइड में चेंज हुआ है, लेकिन उसकी वजह से अमाइनो एसिड जिसके लिए कोडोन कोड करता था वो चेंज नहीं हुआ. ऐसी म्यूटेशंस को हम साइलेंट म्यूटेशंस बोलते हैं. और साइलेंट म्यूटेशंस मोस्टली कब होती हैं? व्हेन द चेंजेस आर टेकिंग प्लेस एट द थर्ड पोजीशन ऑफ द कोडोन. जब ज्यादातर चेंजेस कहाँ होते हैं? थर्ड पोजीशन पर होते हैं. दिस इज नोन एज वुबल पोजीशन. and this was explained as Wubbel hypothesis. What Wubbel hypothesis means? Wubbel hypothesis simply means, see, if three nitrogenous bases they are present, three nucleotides are there in a codon, these two, the first two are going to show specific binding, hydrogen bonding with the anticodon, but this third one is going to show non-specific binding. That means if we are going to change the third one, say C is changed into U, the first two are same. So these are showing specific hydrogen bonding with the anticodon. So a change in third one is not leading to change in amino acid. Say earlier it was coding for lysine. After the change in the third amino acid, still it is coding for lysine. If we see the genetic code, the standard chart of genetic code, we will see that most of the codons that are coding for only one single amino acid, they are having a change in their third position only. The first two are going to be same and the third one is changed. So this is the Wubbel position, and change in a Wubbel position is not leading to change in any of the amino acid. So these type of mutations are known as silent mutation. Another can be that if a mutation is there, then missense, one amino acid will be replaced by another amino acid, and this will make our protein non-functional. And some of the mutations can also lead to frame shift. So these are known as frame shift mutations. If change in the nitrogenous bases is not in a multiple of 3, if 2 are inserted or deleted, 1 is inserted or deleted, that is going to change the complete frame. We have talked earlier also about frame shift mutation, and because of the change in the frame, a completely different protein will be synthesized that might not be functional. So if any of the change is coming in the genetic code, this change is also going to affect the protein. As we saw in sickle cell anemia, only one single amino acid is changed, and because of one single amino acid change, the individual is going to suffer from sickle cell anemia. So this is how the genetic code is going to function collinearly with the proteins. So that's all about today. Next time we will start with our next topic.